The ducks are swimming in the water. Alder, 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 alder. All the ducks are swimming in the water. Alder, 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 alder. All the ducks are swimming in the water. Alder, 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 alder.
Yep, I'm back. I know, it's this constant cycle, isn't it, of me going, hey, I'm back, every sort of 6 months, or 2 years, or 10 years, or something like that. I've got something exciting to do. I will. They're going to make unnecessary rash promises here, aren't I? But I am going to try and do this on a more regular basis, even if it is just little bits and pieces, shorts and stuff like that, just to get some more content onto the channel. And because, you know, it's good for me to do this sort of stuff and to share these things. Life's not been great this year, unfortunately. We started the year with the news that my dad had been diagnosed with metastatic bladder cancer. It spread to his lungs, so we were then arranging to sort of get appointments and things for him sorted. So it's been backwards and forwards and making sure my dad's okay. But unfortunately, on the 24th of May, my dad lost his battle with his cancer, so he's passed away. And yeah, it's strange how it affects you. I never really realised how much grief would affect me because I'd not really been through it. I was young when my grandparents passed, so I didn't really know an awful lot about it. One minute they were there, next minute they were gone. But on this occasion, I'd gone through my dad with it all, going backwards and forwards to the hospital with him, you know, the appointments, seeing him have his treatment. And I actually sat with him on the night that he passed away as well, just to make sure that he wasn't on his own. And they stay with you, these things. And grief has a nasty way of sneaking up on you when you least expect it. And I'm still going through the process of getting over it. I had a kind of fractured relationship with my dad. But in the sort of last few years, ever since I had my daughter, in fact, things have got an awful lot better and I understood him a lot more. So there we go. So, Dad, it's for you, okay? And so I'm back here doing this because you suddenly realise that life is too short, you know? And there's things that I can do and there's things that I can share, and I think I should because it's good for me. And not only that, you might even find it entertaining. So here we are, back at my desk of doom. And I've decided this could go horribly wrong, mind you. I'm going too quick because I'm trying to do this all in one take and it doesn't always work, does it? My things have a propensity to go horribly wrong. So what we're going to do, I'm going to teach you how to scratch build. I know, crazy, isn't it? Because to be honest, it's not as difficult as you think it is. I know. People say to me, oh no, and you've got loads of skill and you can do these things. And I mean, it's years I spent as a kid building models, you know. I mean, I hello, that's my wife. She's come to disturb. Sorry for the break in transmission. I had to go to the shop. I know, real life does tend to interfere sometimes. You will find that in the videos that, you know, I will get summoned to go to the shop, or I'll have my daughter burst in because she can't wait to see what's going on and wants to be on the camera as well. I'm gonna leave it all in because, you know, I could edit it and look like I'm really professional, but let's be honest, I'm not. More sense of reality, isn't it, watching this idiot? So where were we? Scratch building. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very beginning. Start at the very beginning. I promise not to sing anymore. I don't actually. I may well do that. But yeah, in the best sounding music style, we are going to start at the very beginning and do, re, mi our way through the process of scratch building. I can't believe I just did that. So I'm going to talk first off, this video, just going to talk about the equipment that you're going to need, because before you start, you are going to need some bits and pieces. We'll start off with the very, very basic stuff that you're going to need, and then as we go along, we'll add bits and pieces to it. So that way you don't have to go and buy a shed load of equipment, you know, to do this. So we'll start with some simple bits and pieces and work up from there. Most of you guys, if you've model making already, especially if you like building plastic wargaming figures or model kits or anything like that, you're going to have some of this stuff already. It really is just a case of like building on your inventory of equipment. So obviously you're going to need stuff like knives. Look at that. That's a serious Stanley. Meet my friend, Mr. Stanley. Put him back, put him back. I don't use Mr. Stanley all the time. He's very good for cutting big bits. Most of the time I use one of these. Scalpel, because I'm a skilled surgeon. You will soon realise, watching me hack bits of plastic up, that I'm not a skilled surgeon. And there could be moments when the scalpel slips and sticks itself into my hand, which I've done many times in the past. So if I do cut myself, there will be blood, but I will warn you beforehand, because obviously some people are squeamish and really don't want to see me chopping off any of my fingers. I know. Or, yeah, dropping a knife.
Oh no!
I've done that before. Not into my groin, into my leg. And my foot. This would be seriously dangerous, couldn't it? Anyway, back to scratching. So we'll start with something really simple. I think probably, I know it's going to sound awful, for those of you who've not really had a go at this, we'll build something simple like a wooden box, maybe, you know, because we all need boxes in our games. And we can make some with lids on, without lids on, so you can put things inside them and use them as objective markers for some rule sets. You have to have these objective markers to sort of say there's a chain of commands, a perfect example. There's your jumping off point, so you make like a little diorama with, oh, I've got one here, look. Here's one I started earlier. Little diorama with things like boxes and stuff on it, so you can say that's a jumping off point, so you can mark where you're going to be. Yeah, we might look at rules later on down the line as well. Who knows? Who knows? So, scratch building, yes. So we're going to start with the basic, make a wooden box, okay, just to sort of get you into the way it works and where you cut things up and the way you can do certain things. And as we go along, we'll add little bits to it. So there's going to be stuff like, you know, making wheels, putting rivets on stuff, how to get a wood grain effect onto wooden things. Makes sense, doesn't it? And I'm going to talk about the tools that you're going to need, the glue that you're going to need, the plastic card really, which is the stuff that you use for most of it. When it comes in like sheets like this. Oh, those get too hot. You can also get it in like, oh, get some over here, tubular sections. Oh, you can see me down there. Like that. You get square sections, you get all different shapes and sizes. So it isn't a case of having to hack up sheet into various things. You can get oh god, there's a technical word for it that I can't remember, that I will remember at the end of the video, and then I'll tell you then. But at the moment I'm now waffling. But what we're going to do, we're going to start off with the basic one, and then this is how it works. This is how you cut plastic. This is how you stick it together. This is a blah de blah. Simple. Right, now we're going to build this. T26 tank. This is a Chinese import, okay. It's supposed to be 1/48 scale, but it isn't. The turret is. That's about the only thing that is in scale on the track sections, which is very handy because I'm going to cheat and not build a track section for this. I've got some STLs. They're printy things, for those of you who don't know, that you use to put into 3D printers and to print stuff for you. Oh, and a bit, fishy boy, got a printer into it. Sorry, yeah, where was I? STLs. So I'm going to get the tracks printed off because they're far too difficult for me to, no, not far too difficult for me to build. I have built them before, but why force myself to do something like that when I can just build the body and get the tracks printed off? Because the tracks, printed tracks, would be a lot better than anything I'm capable of actually scratching and getting cast. Because the idea is to build the main body and the turret so I can actually get them cast and then just have the track sections printed so I can make up my own. I was going to say fleet of tanks, but that's not the right word, is it? Squadron? Yeah, platoon. But it is for the Spanish Civil War. Most of the stuff I'm going to be doing from here on in is going to be for the Spanish Civil War. So we're going to start by scratching T26, but in between, interlaced with that, there's going to be stuff like painting figures and how you sort of paint little guys like this, little militiaman. Hello. Ooh. It doesn't have to get that close to the screen, because you didn't take pictures of him. That was stupid. So me painting things, basically, yeah. I'm not the best painter in the world, but I can turn out a half-decent figure. So I'll give you an idea of how I paint faces, the process I go through for that as well, but that's further down the line. At the moment, we're talking scratch building. So let's go down here where all the stuff is, and we'll talk about what tools you need to get yourself started. eyes down, looking. Now, of course, I haven't thought this through at all, have I? Because I've not set my other camera up. So I'm currently filming this from above using my phone. Basically, this is what you're going to need, okay, just to get yourself started scratching. It's not a lot of kit, it's just a few bits and pieces, and you're more than likely going to have some of this already. Right, first off, you're going to need some kind of measuring device, a ruler. I tend to use centimeters. If you're old school, you can use inches, etc. Okay, but centimeters, millimeters tends to work better for me. This is metal. I recommend that you get yourself a metal ruler, okay? If not a metal ruler, just get yourself a straight piece of metal that you can actually use as a cutting edge, because you're going to put that down like that. Further down the line, you want something to rest against when you're doing your cutting, and metal works best because obviously if you're using plastic, you can easily cut into your plastic ruler. So get a metal ruler. Get them in a couple of different sizes. Get a big one, get a little one, okay? Because they're really, really handy. And like I said, they're great for like cutting up against when you're cutting into your plastic card, which of course is the other thing you're going to need, some plastic card. There we go. This stuff is 1mm sheet. It's a good starting point. 1mm, get yourself a 1mm sheet because that covers a multitude of sins. It's thick enough to be quite sturdy, but not so thick that it's hard to cut through, because you've got an awful lot of cutting, as you can appreciate. Cutting means you're going to need knives, okay? I use this old Stanley. I've had this thing for years and years and years. I use it for cutting like thicker plastic card and cutting big bits of plastic card because it's, you know, it's easy to use basically, and it's got a bit of weight behind it, so you can give it a good sort of push, and you can swap the blades out as well if needs be. For more finer work, I use one of these. It's the Swan Morton scalpel with replaceable blades. The good thing about these is you can actually swap the blades out again, and this is why I suggest you get a knife where you can swap blades out, because you are going to get through an awful lot of blades. When you're cutting, blades get dull, and it's a lot easier to cut with a sharp knife than it is with a blunt one. So I always recommend that, you know, change your blades on a regular basis. You can keep the old ones, you know, for sort of trimming work and stuff like that, scraping, etc. So you don't end up sort of throwing them all away after using them once. But yeah, get a knife with interchangeable blades. You may already have one of these. Here we go. Oh my God, look at my drawer. It's just absolutely full of crap. But you may have one of these, like an X-Acto knife with handle, where you can actually put different kind of blades in the end. Okay. They're handy as well. They're just as good, but I just prefer these because they're better for fine work. And a lot of the work I do is quite delicate. That's a crap description, Nige. Some of the work I do is very, very delicate. There we go. I would also recommend getting one of these. Okay, this is a JLC razor saw. Same again, handle. You buy separate blades, and it's got like a rough edge and a not so rough edge for sort of sawing through plastic card. It comes in really handy when you're using plastic card sections like tube. Okay, they're really good for cutting through tubes without trying to sort of, because you cut a tube with a knife, you end up squashing it, but if you cut it with a razor saw, you get a pretty good cut, and they're quite easy to cut with. So there we go. You can also, if you want to, get these separate saw blades that you can put into your knife handles. Okay, another reason why I'm waving saws at you is because we can use the actual blades themselves to get a wood grain effect into the plastic card. Okay, that along with the knife, you can very, very easily get a nice textured effect, which is why I'm saying sort of get one of those early doors, because you will need it further down the line anyway. But for us building ourselves a little box, it's quite handy. Okay, so there we go. So basically, knives, plastic card, rulers. You're going to need some cement. I recommend that you use this stuff. Okay, it's 10 mil extra thin cement. What it basically does, it softens the plastic, it melts the plastic effectively. So when you push two pieces of plastic together, they're welded together, and it forms a really, really secure bond. It's easy to use. It's in, some of you may have used this stuff already for building your plastic figures. Okay, it's got a little brush. Oh, you know, I'm not going to open it because I'm going to throw it all over the desk if I do. But it's got a little brush in top of the lid that you can actually use to put it on. It's another variation of the similar sort of thing. That's Mr. Cement. Okay, but it works the same way as this one. They basically weld the plastic together. Okay, you can use super glue, but you don't have so much control over super glue. And not only that, the bond isn't as tight. And that does make some people say, super glue's marvellous stuff, bloody, you can stick anything together. You can stick anything together, including your fingers. Yeah, done that plenty of times. But it's not that great for sticking together plastic hard. Okay, I would recommend all the time to use one of these type cements because, like I said, it melts the plastic hard and welds it together. So that is all you're going to need as a basic setup, okay, to get yourself started and scratch building something as simple as a little tiny wooden box. And we will attempt that in the next episode. So there you go. It's just basic bits and pieces, you know, just to get us started. So what you need to do now, boys and girls, is to go out and get all your bits and pieces, okay? Get yourself some plastic card, make sure you got all the knives and things that you need, ready for the next exciting episode where we're going to build a wooden box. Yeah, build a box. It won't be this big, mind you, it'll be various sizes, you know. We'll make some boxes in different sizes. That's what we're going to do. Okay, just to get you started on your scratch building journey. It's a long way to go from here to here. Yeah, I know. From that little box to something like this. Here's some scratch builds I made earlier. Bye, folks.